What I want to do for you in the 10 minutes I have, and please shout if I overrun, which I shouldn't, is give you a roundup of where I think we are from a parliamentary perspective, going back to just before the last general election, and then give you a vision of where I think we should be going. And I say we, you, me, collectively, as an organisation, as organisations, going forward. Starting with 2009, the end of the last Parliament was pretty dreadful. We had, that is homeopathy generally, had this attack through the Science and Technology Committee of the House of Commons, organised by a Member of Parliament who was subsequently defeated, possibly because of his attack, Evan Harris, an outright attack on homeopathy through the evidence check, which was very poorly conducted, and was then taken by the very small number of those who are against this great art, very small number, tiny number of largely very senior in age professors who attacked the subject. The result of that, I felt that very personally, and I tend to think when I'm campaigning as a soldier, because I was one. When I was 18, I was commissioned into the British Army and I served in Northern Ireland. So I think strategically and tactically as a junior officer. And I felt at that time that I was in a bunker with missiles raining down on me. And I thought, in the next Parliament, I'm going to do something about it. And I decided with the new select committee system, which would, rather than being appointed by the whips, members were going to be elected, that I would try and get elected. And I didn't think I would get elected. But I managed to get elected to the Health Committee, which infuriated all those who were against complementary medicine. A few years later, I managed to get elected to the Science Committee, so the whole science community went ballistic at the thought of me being on the Science Committee. And I did it because I wanted to block off, if you play backgammon, I wanted to block off certain points and make sure that I could blunt any attacks. So before moving forward, I wanted to blunt the attacks. And then when on these committees, I started to get complementary medicine on the agenda. In the Health Committee, we had the Long-Term Care and Conditions Inquiry, which I think I had quite a hand in getting that on the agenda. Peter Fisher and George Lewis came and gave evidence. We had 7 submissions from complementary organisations, 4 of which were from homeopathic organisations. And then in the Science Committee inquiry into antimicrobial resistance, at which Dame Sally admitted there were no solutions for the future of antibiotics because there weren't any coming on stream. But of course, Dame Sally Davis, the Chief Medical Officer, seems to have a blind spot when it comes to homeopathy and other alternatives. She offers none herself, but has a blind spot with those that are available, which is very sad. Hopefully we can change Dame Sally's view in time. So we had very good presentations at that committee too. So what we've tried to do in the House is to start to defend effectively homeopathy and get on the move. And then in the summer of this year, I was speaking at the Glastonbury conference, and I think Jeff, you had a transformative moment at Glastonbury. You did. Well, I did too, and I think it's the energy of being with 250,000 people. It does something for you. And I decided then that I was going to broaden the attack generally and started talking about the Indian system of medicine, which is Ayush. And it's worth remembering, friends, or worth being aware if you're not, that the new Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, has said all doctors should have an awareness of homeopathy. He has also said that homeopathy, Ayurveda, and allopathic medicine should work together. And he represents a large slice of the world's population. So that gives you an idea of where things are going in India. So I decided to do this, and I was, to use another military metaphor, I wanted to get on a playing field where we were using all the complementary therapies and talking about them. And in the Cold War, we used to talk about a Russian missile system, which was known as the Stalin's organ. It was a multiple rocket launcher. And what I have tried to do in recent months is fire rockets all over the place and let them respond. And I have said that the scientific community, and I speak as a member of the Science and Technology of the House of Commons and of the Health Committee of the House of Commons, Some people in the science community are ignorant, they are prejudiced because of their view of Indian medicine in particular, their intolerance, and they never look to see if there is evidence there. I think that is really, really sad. And what I want to see is a complete change where we no longer rely just on so-called evidence-based medicine, but we look at the long tradition of usage. We look at patients' experience. We cannot deny this. It's completely absurd to be in a situation where we don't take note of how patients feel about themselves. And also, it's maddening that good inquiries are ignored. We were in Cuba recently, and where one of the greatest homeopathic studies of all time was conducted in 3 provinces of Cuba. Why is it that the conventional community will persistently ignore these studies? And I'm very pleased to hear today that in India, there are studies going on now where doctors themselves are prescribing to some patients placebo and to some patients homeopathic medicine without knowing which is which. And there's this very great study, the results will be seen in the near future. Now, where are we going in the future? Well, homeopathy has to be at the heart of the health service. I would like to see a much more aggressive approach from the homeopathic community. I think you need to get into your new MP's surgeries. The one thing that all of you can do is go and see your MP, go and tell them. And the message you need to get across is that we are not competing with allopathic medicine. To use the coalition buzzword, we are all in it together. You can take the pressure off doctors. Let hard-pressed doctors get on with things that they best treat. You can deal with patients that sometimes are very difficult to treat. So we can work side by side, as they do in India. So it's absolutely vital that we do that. I think you should have an objective that every household in England has a 42 remedy homeopathic kit in the cupboard, to encourage people to try to self-medicate for simple conditions. And if they're not getting anywhere, then they go straight to their doctor. If it's a serious condition, they go straight to their doctor anyway, but not for colds, not for minor stomach upsets, not for aches and sprains when arnica has all these trials that proves it works. We need to set an objective that every family has a homeopathic kit. If we do that, we immediately reduce the health bill by billions. So that's your target for the next Parliament. So I'll finish on this note, if I may paraphrase somebody else's advertising. The future is bright. The future is homeopathic. Thank you very much.